Let's go!
When New Genesis was announced back at the Xbox E3 event in 2020, everybody in the Phantasy Star community was like,
Oh my god!
and you better believe I was one of those people. I was in a Discord call with a friend watching the E3 showcase, and we did not expect a new Phantasy Star title to be announced. So with the intro taken care of, let's drop into the world of New Genesis, starting with the story. Taking place 1,000 years after the events of Oracle, your newly reborn waifu or manly man crashes on the planet Halva with really no explanation on what led up to that whatsoever. You are rescued by the 15-year-old girl Aina and Manon, the next generations of Arcs. You, the usual tight-lipped character, join them. You soon realize that it's back to usual business when Dark Falls shows up in 86's Gora, after you finish the movement tutorials. Now with the village in total ruin, you, Aina, and Manon head to Central City to meet up with Crawford, the central leader, who commands the next generation of Arcs on planet Halpha. You do some more stuff, do some side quests to increase your battle power, and the story cuts off with really no explanation going further. I won't ruin it for you because it's actually kinda cool, but the little amount of story is miles ahead of classic PSO2 storytelling by far. Just don't tell our PSO2 I said that. The world of Halpha is massive, never really seen in a Phantasy Star MMO. You have a lot of zones from the beta and 3 more areas. While the map is massive, there's really nothing to do as of right now, which kinda sucks. After you complete the small amount of story, you're really left with nothing to do, other than grind your battle power, level, and get that 4-star loot. The map encourages exploration, with rare boxes to find, over 100 to be exact, cocoons, towers to explore, and you can find that perfect spot for that dope screenshot for your waifu. While the map is huge, there's still some areas that are blocked off that will come eventually through story updates, which, hopefully, adds new cocoons and side story filler plots, but I won't keep my hopes high, honestly. Sega's put a lot of love and effort into making the world of Halpha. I can't wait to see what they have in store in the future for this world. Classes in New Genesis have received a huge change, so let's go over the classes one by one. Hunters are effectively the tanks of New Genesis, though that's typically more in terms of having high HP and defense. Hunters use sword, wired lances, and partisans. Hunter's skill tree consists of 20 skills that you can learn, but requires skill points that you can get from completing cocoons and towers. The best part of that is you only have to complete them once, and all of those skill points are available not only for that character, but all your characters as well. Fighters are similar to hunters, however, they are more fast-paced combat and aim for the highest damage possible. Fighters use double sabers, twin daggers, and knuckles. Fighters have 18 different skills that you can possibly learn and get the most out of the class. Some skills are risky to use, but rewarding with a high DPS number if pulled off correctly. Fighter is hands down my favorite class of NGS so far. Rangers are the long-range class, capable of downing enemies from a distance. Rangers have the ability to help team members with blight rounds, which increase the amount of damage everyone deals when hitting the targeted weak spot. Think of it as weak bullet from PSO2, which it's basically that. Rangers use auto rifles and launchers, which launchers are my absolute favorite, if I'm being honest with you. The Gunner class is recommended to players who like aerial combat and like fast-paced action like Fighter. Gunners are more effective to close range despite being able to use rifles. Learn Trigger Chain in the skill tree and go to town. Honestly, that's your best bet as Gunner. It's a really fun class and I think you will enjoy it if you do like fast-paced combat. Force is a tech-based class. The only class to have elemental photon arts that help aid in stunning bosses or setting them on fire. This class is recommended to anyone who likes to mage-like roles, and not gonna lie, overall it's super nice to use. Force uses rods and taluses. Do note that Force plays slightly different from PSO2. I have not messed too much with it, but the differences are clearly kinda night and day. Techers, which for some reason they renamed it to Tector. Tector is the most support-oriented class of all of New Genesis, focused on buffing and healing allies. This class is aimed more for group play with support skills like Shifted D-Band. You just plop that bad boy on the floor for nearby players to get that buff, and wider healing for other players when you're using healing items. Techers use wands that can basically be used as a mace, bonking enemies with strong attacks. They also can use taluses, but they're primarily focused on wands. I know I didn't get to touch on everything New Genesis has to offer, like urgent quests, in-depth explanation of cocoons and towers, as well as PSEs, but that's all explained in the beginning of the game with side quests tutorials. PSO2 New Genesis has promise. While I wish the game had more things to do at launch, like more story and more areas, that's really my only complaint with the game. Not much to do right now, and I can imagine it's going to be hard for Sega to keep the player base happy with the small amount of content they have to offer. I know there's a roadmap for a New Genesis, but honestly it feels really rushed out the door to meet a deadline for corporate greed. Will that stop me from coming back tomorrow? Absolutely not. New Genesis is fun, the world is beautiful, and the gameplay is just addicting as always. NGS is an amazing game, and I can't wait to see how Sega continues to build this world for the better. And for better or for worse, I'll be there, playing the game as usual. Thank you for watching this short video on Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, and if you like what you saw, please hit that subscribe button. This is Eterna, looking for a brighter day. Until next time.